musician, so bear with. I'd like to paint a picture for you really quick. You've all heard the story where it's midnight and you're thirsty, so you go downstairs and you instinctively turn on that light, even though you know exactly how to get to your fridge in the dark. In the back of your mind, you always have that concept. And right there in the shadows of that doorway, something is watching. Whether or not you've ever seen anything in your life or had any experiences with it, we've all had that one moment where we double check because we thought we saw something. Well, that's what we deal with every day. The paranormal has always been described by other professionals as something that is a theoretical science that uses factual sciences to try to back it up. But in this world, there are definitely true forms of light and darkness that we still have yet to understand. Despite us being able to make a phone call from a watch or talk face-to-face with someone miles away, 3,000 miles away, we still have yet to explore 1% of what true paranormal research involves. And we're a long ways away from that. One thing I can tell you from the eyes of someone who's done this for a long time, there are things we'll never be able to explain, things we'll never be able to truly understand no matter how far we do what we do. Some of the stories I've already heard tonight, I've heard stories similar to these. You know, people, especially the one about the kangaroo rat, I love that. I've heard tales of that many, many times, where people refuse to believe because in the back of our minds, we still hold on to the thing that everyone holds on to, is the concept of not being able to understand something, not being able to explain something that we've seen or heard. Because the unknown breeds fear or interest, essentially one or the other. One thing we never want to admit is that we're afraid. In my profession, I've seen times where something unbeknownst to everyone around, something we cannot see, has brought not one, but over a dozen professional sidekicks to their knees and said, "We must leave. It is not safe here." I've seen people push downstairs on camera, things that by something we can't see. All we see is, and there they go. We've seen people walking down a hallway, and all of a sudden, arch. When we lift up their shirt, all we see are scratch marks. We've seen a 2-year-old child carry on a 2-hour conversation in a bedroom, on camera, with nothing there. Playback of audio will show us that she's carrying on a conversation with disembodied voices, sometimes in a language we can't understand. No matter how many linguists we bring in who specialize in different languages. There are things that we can't understand. Many people love the paranormal. They love to do what we do. There are many people out there who don't know. They're afraid of what they may find. They're afraid of what is in their home, their business. Afraid for their friends, their family, things that they can't see, things they cannot protect them against. Any father, any mother will tell you that the one thing they can't stand the most is not being able to protect their family. How do you protect them from something you can't see or touch? That fear is what drives people like me to do what we do. To help those people who can't help themselves because they don't know how. Or worse yet, the ones who try to find a way to do it online and they mess it up. That's usually where the movies come into play. Movies like Amityville, movies like The Exorcist, movies like Emily Rose, movies that most of us grew up with. Movies that were all true, down to very minute details. These are things that we see every day. These are things we get asked about every day. I was originally coming up here to tell you about what I do in more of a business sense, but it's definitely not what I'm looking to tell you about. The spirit world is something that has so much interest to so many people. It has so many ties to so many cultures, religions, ethnicities, family histories. Native Americans, the Chinese, the Irish, Germans. Our history is flooded with these legends, these folklore, these myths about the spirit world. And many of us run right toward it. Most of which pretty blind, not really knowing what to expect. One thing I always tell people is that if you keep yourself afar and learn from the written word and learn from professionals who know what they're doing, you will see something very interesting, and you'll learn about a world that most of us thought was just fantasy. Go blindly toward it too fast without knowing what you're doing, and you end up with stories like Paranormal Activity that never end great. I've had the privilege in my life to meet psychics and connect with people that we thought were long gone to us. People that in reality are watching over us every second of every day. I've had things told about myself, things told to me about those who watch me. Things that have brought me to tears. Have brought other people to tears, the most stone-faced people I know. That is what this business gives us. It gives us insight into things that we never thought were possible, things that as children we were told was just make-believe. Those imaginary friends we had as kids, nowadays we believe that these are real spirits. Not necessarily people we know, but people who know us, because we can see them. When people tell us that these imaginary friends are just make-believe, that they're not really there. We're bred into a society where we believe that these things are fake. It's just make-believe. Well, doing what I do, I've been studying this 15 years despite my young age. And for the 5 years I've been a professional, I've seen plenty of things, and I can tell you this. There's no such thing as make-believe. You choose to believe what is make-believe and what is real. The paranormal at this moment is indeed a theoretical science, that much is true. But each person brings to the table their own interest, their own idea of what is factual in it. You can choose to believe that psychics are not real. You can choose to believe that demons aren't real. I can choose to believe none of it's real. You bring your own opinion to the table, and you choose to believe what you want. That's what makes it interesting. That's what makes it unique. And of course, as most of us know, that's what makes it still taboo, even to this modern era. If you think about it, it wasn't too long ago that we were casting people to hell and telling them that we're burning them at the stakes for being a witch. Fear breeds a lot of things, and we haven't come too much further ahead than that. So when people ask me day to day, you know, what do? Do you hunt ghosts? Are you a Ghostbuster? I always tell them the same thing. I always tell them, what I do is I listen to people's claims. I hear what they have to say. I assure them that they are not crazy. They indeed see and experience what they see and experience. The difference is figuring out which one of the things they're seeing is real and which can be explained. Do they believe me? Not always. The key is to make sure that everyone believes what they want to believe and are comfortable. That's what real paranormal is about. It's not about the taboo, it's not about the witchcraft, it's not about the research, it's not about the science. It's about the people, the connection that we have to each other. It's like I said in the beginning, we've all had that moment. That one moment, and I know all of you can think about it. At one time, you stopped and thought to yourself, what did I see? What did I hear? And if you haven't already figured it out, it probably still bugs you to this day every now and then. Me too. That's why I do this. I'm still waiting for that one day I can either prove what I saw or science it away, so to speak. So when I say to you tonight, if I was to tell you one piece of advice, it's don't ever let someone tell you make-believe is real. Always shoot for the stars, always find what you're looking for. Because in spirits, in the paranormal, you're always going to find them. Thank you.